school, but I am also a MBA part-time student as well. So that grad school life is very real right now. Um, and so I also wanted to give a chance for Paul to introduce himself as
Yep,
co-facilitator.
sure. So Paul Hutchinson, I'm the Director of Career Services at the Bloomberg School of Public Health. And as we're getting started and kind of introducing ourselves, if you wouldn't mind putting your name right next or put the school right next to your name. So you'll see with mine, I have Paul Hutchinson and it says Bloomberg. We're just trying, get a general sense of where everybody's at.
Thank you for that reminder, Paul.
No problem.
All right. So thank you all for participating in this JHU Student Journey Map focus group that we're hosting today. As we stated in our initial email, the Office of Integrative Learning and Life Design, also known as ILLD, houses all the career centers at JHU. So for each school, that's sort of like the centralized hub. And then the ILLD is looking to gain a better understanding of your journey while at Hopkins. And we are excited to have this discussion today with each of you and hear about your motivations, most impactful experiences, ways to further support your next steps in your journey during your time at JHU, knowing that this is one step on your future path. So as a reminder, we will be recording, as you saw, for the focus group, but that's just for us internally, our group of 3, Paul, as you met, and Jess is our other counterpart. We're planning to compile all of the student focus group responses and present a report back to the ILLD leadership in aggregate. So you will not be personally identified, and you'll see that in just a moment in the interactive activities we do. So our agenda for our hour today is to have brief introductions, an answer and icebreaker question, and then we'll conduct an empathy map exercise based on questions that we already sent to you. And then we'll do some brainstorming about current versus future state in your student journey. And then we'll be using Jamboard, which is something available through Google to facilitate all of that interactive activities that we have, and invite you to access to it in a moment as soon as we finish up our introductions. And so that will be available in the Zoom chat in a little bit. Are there any questions before we get started?
Oh, do you have a preference if the camera is on or off?
Oh, totally up to you, especially since we are recording. We absolutely respect if you want to be on or off camera. It's totally up to you. And when we do the interactive parts, we'll even share screens. So at parts, you'll be able to see that as the main thing and not as much each other. So whatever your comfort level is. Any other questions? All right, so we're going to start with a quick round of introductions to answer our icebreaker question. And so that question is, what is the general direction for where you want your career to go? And so to get us started, I'll role model. So as I mentioned, my name is Jessica Antonin, and I work in the Career Center for the Carey Business School. And the general direction I want my career to go is I really love helping people and supporting them in solving complex problems. And so I really want my career to be focused on project management, process improvement, and data storytelling to help influence positive change. So that's sort of the direction I'm focused on as my career progresses. So I'm going to kick it over to Paul next.
Sure. So yeah, when I think about the question of general direction for where I want my career to go, I'm still kind of figuring that out. So I mean, I've been working for a number of years, in higher education. But if I look back at kind of anything that I've done or anything that I have, either done professionally or even personally, it's always about helping people. So the roles that I've had while I've been working have been student-centered, doing student advising, helping students select their courses, and then most recently doing a lot of career development, professional development type of work. And then I have a background in counseling and have, training as a career coach. So, kind of it falls into that general theme of always trying to help people in whatever way that I can. And so I could imagine if there's any other direction and things I might do or career pivot or anything like that, I'm sure it'll always be focused on helping people in some way. So I'll pass it on I'll go down the bottom of my screen. I'll start with Gabby, if you could answer our icebreaker for us.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Gabriella, or you can call me Gabby. I'm a first semester Master's of the Science of Nursing at the School of Nursing. Since I'm a first semester, I'm just trying to get on my feet, learning a lot. I started this spring, so just a couple months ago. But in terms of like long-term goals, I think I'm going to come back and get my Doctors of Nursing practitioner at some point, probably in hopefully leadership, I think. We'll see what my experiences give me. I'm trying to be really open at this point in terms of getting all of the experience I can while I'm here and working with a bunch of populations so I can see where I think I can help and where I want to explore further.
All right. How about Stephanie?
Hi, I'm an undergraduate. I'm a political science major. For now, like since I'm a little, probably since I was 15 years old, I knew that I wanted to be a criminal lawyer. So right now, I'm a junior, and my goal is graduate from Johns Hopkins and apply for law school.
Next, let's have Mifra. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Hi, everyone. Is that better?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so I'm Mifra. I'm a graduate student at Advanced Academic Programs in Biotechnology. I spend a great deal of my life working with different patients and really seeing them go through different parts of their treatment. And I became really interested in what makes them sick and how we can develop therapeutics, which brought me to Johns Hopkins. I'm currently working as an RA at MIT, and I'm studying pancreatic cancer. I hope to one day get a PhD, go into research in academia, and continue to work on therapeutics.
Great. All right. And then is it
Heitzi. So I'm kind of at another end of my life. I was a lawyer for many years. I did child welfare policy, class action law, and then policy advocacy. And then had a bout with cancer and turned to art. And then I spent about 25 years teaching art, making art, selling art. And now I've turned to, I had another bout with cancer and I use that as a pivot point. And so that's when I applied for and started the fiction writing program. So I'm in the advanced academic program in fiction writing. And I think what I'd like to do now is try and become part of the community of published fiction writers, publish some stuff and get to know other people who are active in the I guess it would be called either chick lit or serious fiction.
Wow. Well, that is an incredible story. And thank you so much for sharing those pieces about your life as well. I have family members, a lot of family members who have battled with cancer. So congratulations. That is phenomenal. It's so good to see you and to have you here with us today. And thank you all for sharing your stories and your motivations, what direction you're looking to go into. That really helps us with understanding as you share throughout today. And so we're going to move into the next step of really exploring some more around some of those questions that we sent you all. So we're going to jump into the Jamboard here. So we'll add the link. Let's see. Okay. All right. So here's the link in the chat. So if you'll click there, and I'll share my screen as well so we can go over how to use that. So can everyone see my screen okay? Great, awesome. All right, so this is the Jamboard. So as we mentioned earlier, you will not be individually identified. We have, as you shared your schools, we have indicated the various colors here for the different schools. And basically on the left-hand side is where you'll find underneath the pointer, there's this sticky note. If you click it, then it showcases here the different colors. So you can select the color based off of your school. So we have KSAS, School of Nursing, and AAP. And then to respond to the question, you'll be able to type in here any thoughts and ideas, and then you can click save to have it enter it. And you can keep going. You can keep adding in all sorts of ideas and thoughts as we go throughout the exercise. No need to move anything around during our, we're gonna do like timed sessions, so you can put as many ideas as possible, and we'll support moving those around so that you all can see them later. So that's basically how you interact with the board. You just go over there, add your sticky with your representative color, and then click save to add it to the board, or cancel to see where it is or see what other ideas are out there. But yeah, any questions about how to use the board? All right, great. So our first question that we're going to start with, we have three that we're going to go through pretty quickly, about 2 minutes each. And so the first question we have for you is, how have you felt supported with regards to your professional development? So this could be anything that has supported you in your short or longer term at Hopkins. And that could be a service, it could be one-on-one meeting with professors, with staff. It could be, it can be various classes, all sorts of things. So whatever that looks like. Any questions before we start the clock for 2 minutes? Or Paul, anything to add?
I'm not, as an old person, I'm not that clear on, so when I put my cursor over that sticky note, it's not doing anything.
Oh, did you click on it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So it's not giving you this option?
right?
Oh,
Oh, wait, do I have to click on this thing over here on the side? Okay, now I see, now I've got it.
okay, no worries. That's why we go
Okay.
through this, because it is, especially when it's new, and it could be anyone. It really doesn't matter age-wise, and when it's a new technology piece, it takes some getting used to. So great question. It's very important that you all have access. Does everyone have access and is able to add sticky notes? All right, I'm going to take the silence as a yes. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Paul or I in the chat if you don't feel comfortable voicing it to everyone. But we're going to go ahead and start the clock for 2 minutes. 1 minute left. Fifteen seconds. All right. Great. All right. So next we're going to move to the next one. I'm just going to share screen again real quick. All right. So from this page, we're going to go to the top here where it says 1 of 7. And you're just going to click that right arrow to go to the next frame. And when you do, you should see 2 of 7. Is everyone on the next page? Okay. All right. So for this one, we're going to focus on how you may not have felt supported. So things that maybe are not helping you to accomplish that direction that you're trying to head into, right? That we just talked about. So anything that made you feel like you're not supported, you'll have 2 minutes to write down as many things as you can think of. Honesty is the key. Please do not worry about hurting our feelings. We're doing this so that we can improve. So any and all ideas are welcome. Paul, anything to add, or does anyone have any questions?
No, I think it is. And and again, it is one of those things to where we're really trying to have something to be university wide. So it's something that you feel like different for your school. It could be something that could be very helpful for other schools as well. So please feel free to share.
Okay, so we're gonna put 2 minutes back on the clock and put on the music to keep your energy flowing, and we'll be back together in 2 minutes. One more minute. Thirty seconds. Fifteen seconds. All right. Finish up those last thoughts, get those added. All right, great. So now we're gonna go back to the top here and go to the next frame. So we'll be on 3 of 7. You should see that at the top. And this one is gonna focus on what could be helpful, what could be something that helps to support you as you go to pursue those career goals that you have and that you stated at the beginning. Anything and everything, do not let budgets or current resources be an issue. Just anything where you could have been more supported. Any questions? All right. Okay, we're gonna put 2 minutes back up on the clock. And go. One minute left. Great, 15 seconds. All right. Okay, so we're gonna come back to the boards and we're gonna start with the first one and just kind of share back with you all so that you can see what each other wrote. And also just be able to have a quick conversation for about a minute or so, just to sort of see like, is there anything missing on here or anything that you also want to echo that maybe wasn't yours, but you were like, yes, I feel this as well.
So it seems like a lot of you really felt like you had a lot of support from your professors. Could you maybe explain, give some examples of things that you felt that worked really well?
I can give examples. The courses in my AAP program are fairly small. They're between 12 and 18 students usually. And professors will communicate with you individually if you want, or in a class setting on your work and where you can go with your work. And they're available, you know, during the courses, during the classes, we can ask them questions about where to go next with what we're working on.
That's really good to hear.
I can add into kind of building off that. I feel like my professors for the first time that I've really ever experienced are very supportive in terms of like they want us to succeed in what we're doing, and they really they give a lot of affirmation to us as students, especially as like starting nurses. And I think that empowers us. There's a lot being thrown at us, and so anything with recognition, and they always ask like how we are and how they can support us. So I guess connecting with us as students, not just on what we're doing in class, but making sure we're all doing okay too.
That's awesome. So making sure to actually have a personal check-in, not just about the coursework, but as humans, just to see, how you're doing both personally and professionally.
I will say like in one of my classes, the professor constantly emphasized that we should take care of ourselves, that if something is going on in our life, that we should feel like comfortable to come to her. And she, even though the class was online, she managed the way that I feel connected with her, the way that she taught the class, the way like if a student have a question, she was making sure that she let the student speak out. And then the main thing, it was like she was constantly saying that mental health is very important, and then if we need help, she always is going to be for us. And then she showed that multiple times.
That is really encouraging to hear. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else have anything for this slide for us that we want to be sure to capture? All right. Okay, so we're going to move to the next one so that you can kind of see what each other wrote. Trying to zoom in a little bit here. I know some of the text is pretty small. Any initial thoughts, any themes coming out, sticking out?
I can go if something that I realized is because I have a minor, and I have a minor, like I constantly receiving like really good opportunities. But because it's as a minor, I'm not like really focused on like psychology. But then like because I want to be I want to be a lawyer. I don't see many emails from our pre-law advisor, and that's sad because I see how in psychology department they're constantly sharing opportunities, research, jobs, volunteer positions. But then for the pre-law, I think I only get like 3 emails for this pretty much this whole semester. And this is very sad because I feel like the school is not supporting the students as first generation who want to keep studying after graduate.
So I'm trying to figure out, Estefany, are you an undergraduate?
Yes, I am.
So, I mean, as somebody who practiced law for a long time, I don't know if there are that many opportunities for someone who isn't even in law school to volunteer to work near lawyers or to see what lawyers are doing, unless you reach out to people who are doing the kind of law you want and see whether you could arrange the internship. But I don't think that really exists. I think once you're in law schools usually will try and find summer associate programs for you, but I'm not suggesting that they shouldn't reach out to you. They should, but I don't know if that really exists as a formal area.
Well, and these are all great things to bring up as issues that we can explore further. I know we do have some partnership with the University of Baltimore Law School and some other great resources around as well. So definitely appreciate raising all of these it helps us so much to understand, where the barriers or where the issues are for where you want to be in your future. So then that way, hopefully we can try to drive that, can try to find ways if opportunities don't exist that we might be able to uncover and make available. So that is very helpful. Are there more topics that maybe aren't covered here or that stood out to folks?
On the flip side of what was just said, I feel like I'm getting too many emails per se in terms of just like updates and everything. So if maybe different topics could be consolidated, because I feel like I could potentially like miss an opportunity. I told like some of my peers that I was taking part in this focus group, and they were like, oh my gosh, like I totally would have done it, but I didn't see the email. So
Well, we have a survey if they want to fill out a survey.
okay, I'll let them know. But and I think that also in regards to reaching out with professors, I don't know if this happens at other schools too, but the School of Nursing definitely, I think what's it called? There's like a term for when you get like too many alerts or too many messages that you kind of end up like ignoring half of them and just looking for like the important stuff. So
I mean, I think that one of the things that seems to me to be a commonality of a lot of these is that there isn't any formal way, and it may be because of COVID, but there isn't any formal setup for communication either between students and professors in general, as opposed to a specific professor, or between students within the same field. And it may be that if we didn't have COVID, we would be chatting with people while we're in the hallways or something. But in light of the fact that this is going on for a long time, they really need to build some of that in.
All right, well, I want to make sure we continue to get more info. So we have one more to cover on what would have been more supportive, or what could be more supportive for getting better professional development opportunities. So there's some really interesting themes here as well regarding those sort of gathering aspects. And looks like communication comes up here as well. But is there anything that we see that might be missing from this slide?
I mean, one of the things that people mention is whether their guidance counselor is available or not. Within my field, there's only one person who's assigned to be the guidance counselor for absolutely every grad student in the field. And so there's this sense that unless we have some horrible problem, we shouldn't bother them because they have, I don't even know how many people this particular person has. And I think that perhaps if the guidance counselors can let people know that they're maybe even just having office hours, online office hours.
yeah, and to add on to that, I was just thinking, I think it would have been helpful, maybe it's just because I'm still at the start of my program, but to have kind of like a list of opportunities or just examples of how we could get connected with alumni or professors, or like how to best go about it. That would have been very helpful. And then I had another point, but I forgot it. So I'll see if I can remember.
Oh. My undergraduate school has a program that it's been in place, it's been 40 years since I was there. So it's been in place at least 40 years, where they solicit alumni within a certain field to be paired with students who are interested in that field. And that would be a great thing for Hopkins to do.
So are you saying like a mentorship program or just
I mean, they don't require anything of you except for, when I think of mentorship as somebody, you know,
Right.
contacting you frequently and you look for
Right.
jobs for them and so on. This is much less formal.
Yeah.
But over the course of my careers, my different careers, I've had a wide variety of students from my alma mater get in touch and say, hi, I'm curious about child welfare law. And then I'm able to tell them, you know, places to look, people to talk to, and so on. Occasionally, I've actually been able to help them find a job, but more often it's just to talk about the field and see if it's something they want. And it's very informal. There's no requirement that you spend a certain amount of time. And I think they're allowed to have as many alumni as they want. You know, it's just sort of one of these, I sign up, I say, yes, I'm willing to talk to people, and they sign up with however many people they want. And it's really very helpful.
Wonderful. And thank you for sharing that idea and also for folks raising that issue as well. So we're going to move into a whole new portion of our interactive activity today. So we have 3 parts that we're going to look at in terms of time buckets. So I know some folks mentioned that they're early in their JHU experience, some maybe later on, but just thinking about your experience so far, thinking about the from admission to your orientation, so not having started classes yet, really thinking about those early stages, those early days of your joining JHU, from that admission to orientation, and what was impactful in that time frame and what could have been impactful or helpful. So really putting some timing around this, and also not limiting your thoughts around what is or what resources are available, being able to really identify what was really great, really important, and things that could have been. So having those 2 buckets here. So as you fill in your sticky note, just make sure to move them, because we won't know necessarily if that was a current state or a future state for you. So any questions about this one or anything to add, Paul?
No, other than just to think about when you think about the future state, just thinking that there is no limitations on it. So don't worry about, you know, try to dream big as much as you can.
Right.
Is this regarding like our program, or just more about like what we've been talking about with in terms of like professional development?
Yeah, it can be anything that is helpful for your path, for your journey to accomplishing your goals after JHU. So anything along those lines. So it doesn't have to be specific to career, but it does still impact and help your future goals. Did that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so I'm going to put 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock, put down as many ideas as you have, and then we'll switch to the next time bucket after this.
Would it be possible for you to continue to share your screen just so I can look back at the question? For some reason, when I'm opening the sticky note, it kind of covers the question on my screen.
Paul, do you mind sharing screen while the music plays?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Hold on. Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, 30 seconds left. All right, and we're at time. That one went really quick. Is everyone okay to move on to the next time bucket?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Awesome. So we'll just make sure those last few get moved over to current or future state. And so now we're on slide 5. And so on slide 5, this one is focused on the time bucket of from after orientation through the midpoint of your Hopkins journey. So that could be, you know, if you're in an undergraduate 4-year program, that would be up to your 2nd year. For folks in a 1-year or 2-year program, that's that halfway point. So 6 months or a year. But just really thinking about that first half of your enrolled student experience, what things are or could be impactful for you. And so if you haven't quite reached that midpoint, that's okay. Focus on what you think could be helpful. Any questions? All right. Okay, so let's see. So we can either share screen or have music, apparently with our technology. So do you all prefer to have the screen up and or do you prefer the music?
We'll just stick with the screen for now.
Sounds good. Okay,
I can-
minute
I can-
30.
I can do Jeopardy noise in the background.
All right, 1 minute left. Seconds. All right, we are at time. Finish up those final thoughts. Make sure that your sticky's in the right spot. And then we're going to move to slide 6. Okay, so this one's our final slide. So this one is focused on, as you can imagine, the midpoint of your program to graduation. And so again, anything impactful for that time frame. Again, if you are not there yet, that's okay. Just focusing on what could be or would be most helpful as you are getting to that point in your JHU journey. All right, and a minute 30 on the clock. One minute left. 20 seconds. All right, we're at time. Finish up those final thoughts. All right, so now we're gonna go back to the beginning of this activity and just sort of all take a look at where everything landed and kind of see if there's things that maybe we missed, or you're seeing something and you want to echo what someone else put in. Just take a moment to take a look at what we're seeing. So any thoughts here?
I know that when I first got admitted, something that kind of struck me as surprising was that I didn't really receive much information from different departments of the school in terms of like financial aid and different things like that. I really didn't know what I was kind of trying to find out information to keep track of what to do before orientation. And I think just like a coordinated line of communication between different, maybe if the admissions counselor had sent out, okay, this person's going to reach out to you then, and that would have been able to help me kind of acclimate. And especially because I was moving from California, so that was a big shift.
So Gabby, like a more deliberate handoff from admissions to those within the school.
Yeah, just kind of like what to expect, because after I got my admissions, I didn't really hear anything from anybody.
Mhm.
So I kind of just, and then all of a sudden, like maybe a month before my program, they were like, here's things to do.
Mhm.
So if people had kind of, taken that upon themselves to kind of like send out, okay, you'll be expecting to hear from admissions at this time, so don't worry about it. Or you're not going to hear from admissions, go to this website and look through this to make sure everything's ready before this date, would have been very helpful.
Got it.
Great feedback. Any other thoughts? All right, let's move to the next time bucket. So thinking about that time from orientation to the midpoint of your Hopkins journey, was there anything that you wanted to bring up or maybe isn't here or something that you want to echo?
I hate to keep talking, but
No, that's okay.
For me right now, I'm kind of struggling with when I don't know if this is the same for every school at Hopkins, but for us, our courses, we all have the option to do them online or in person right now because of the shift with COVID. And a lot of us signed up for in person. And when we came to in person, we were surprised by, it's called like a flipped classroom. So basically, our professors upload modules beforehand. We're supposed to watch them and then go to class for lecture to review. And just being able to have known that structure, none of us knew about it until we got there. And I mean, it's fine. It's been working out for everybody for the most part, but just getting presented with that information that this is the structure of courses and this is how they differentiate, so that if someone who, let's say, like learns a different way would have been prepared to see like what the differences are between the online and the in-person. And I know that takes a little bit more with like the professors and coordinating that. But just getting us familiar with knowing that there is going to be different ways or formats of classes would be helpful.
Absolutely. I could see where that would be quite a surprise. Thank you for sharing that.
Gabby, just as a clarifying, was it explained to you like this is how the courses would be if they're like, just say there was no pandemic and no like virtual option, like
Mhm.
this is how the classes are taught, or it was because of the pandemic, it's that way?
No, they kind of didn't say one way or
Okay.
another about COVID. We kind of just all assumed it was that way, but
I got it.
they're all kind of saying like the flipped classroom, it isn't as big of a deal, except for now we're going into our second semester.
Yeah.
And so now that we know the flipped classroom, certain courses like, for example, pharmacology, I've heard from older students in our program the differences between the online and the in-person. But when I was talking to my peers, they didn't know those differences. And so at our advising meeting today, I tried to ask them about that. And I just don't think that it was getting across what I was trying to say. But for us, just knowing beforehand how our course could be changed in terms of like picking the online or in person would be very helpful for
Sure.
people who learn different ways.
Sure.
Great. Any other?
I mean,
things?
I know that you're trying to collect information that's general, so there's something specific to the writing program, but I don't know whether that would be
Yeah,
a bad thing.
absolutely.
So when I was admitted, I first met with the director of the fiction writing program because I saw that there were some online and, fully asynchronous and some in-person classes. And I explained that I don't want to take any asynchronous classes. The computer is not my friend. And, and I wanted to be able to take every required course in person. This is before COVID. And I was assured that that was going to be possible. And now during COVID, I understand that obviously we're in a pandemic and we can't do that. But more and more of the classes are going entirely asynchronous, not even a Zoom call. And it does feel a little bit like a bait and switch, because I had explained that if this program was not going to make it possible to meet in person, then I would look for other programs. And now being halfway through this program, it would be seriously more complicated and waste of time and money to now start looking for a program that has more either Zoom or, whatever kind of face-to-face is possible. And so I guess I would say that, if they make a representation when you apply and get admitted and start, that they should view that as a commitment on their side until that class of people graduates.
And I think that is definitely something that is not just specific. Clearly for you, it was a specific scenario, but I think it could definitely be something that other, especially graduate programs, experience. So that's very helpful to point out.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo that because I think in some ways there's an incentive to do the asynchronous sometimes. And I'm paying a lot of money and I want to be able, I'm someone who likes to go in person and I want to be able to have those opportunities. So I totally get that and echo that, definitely.
I mean, I think also it's not just necessarily a learning style thing. It's definitely in the university's interest to offer the asynchronous, because then they can have international people pay for their courses and so on. And it definitely redounds to, in an adverse way on the people who made sure to apply somewhere local to them so that they could have actual interaction.
And it definitely, I'm sure, is not a single experience as we've seen here even. So, all right, our last one, I know we're getting close on time, is the midpoint to the end. So anything regarding that? I see job fairs, more opportunities in general. Anyone want to elaborate further or share any final thoughts here?
I asked the advisors today if there was like any opportunity to give feedback about the program from students, and if that was a thing. And she offered me to be able to like email, and then she was like, "You can talk to the dean." And I didn't necessarily want to talk to our dean. I just kind of wanted to give feedback about like my own experience and what other people in my cohort are experiencing. So maybe like the implementation of kind of something like this, but just getting feedback right away from like first semester or first year or halfway through, so that there can be changes for the next group.
Yeah, we have heard that a little bit through these sessions, so it's good to continue to hear that is not specific to any one group, that is happening in a few places. Mifra, did you have anything you wanted to share? I know we're getting close, we're at time, but anything you wanted to highlight?
I think I think it was kind of touched on earlier, but I just wanted to point out that when I applied, I heard some not so positive reviews about my program, and had scheduled, it was suggested I schedule an appointment with one of the program directors, and I think she wasn't very familiar with the program. Eventually, they changed directors, and the second director really introduced the program to me, introduced the possibilities I could do. So I think it would really help if there was some type of contact before we came to selecting a graduate program.
Do you think, was it helpful to have someone in like a director role that was doing that, or?
The first director didn't really know the program details. The second director, I told him my aspirations, my dream, and he gave me time and he really guided me. And I think it was just that change that made me choose Hopkins. So it's important for students to have that resource, someone they can really talk to about their goals.
Well, I know we're at 6:02. This has been so helpful to us. Please note you have access to this link. You can still add some more throughout today if you want to continue to add in some thoughts. We'll be processing the information starting tomorrow. So feel free to add some more stickies if something comes up overnight or directly after this. But we want to thank you for your time and for being honest and really sharing your experiences and your thoughts and ways in which things could improve and those specific examples as well. And so we also, to thank you for your time, we will be sending you a DoorDash code for $15. So that way you can use it towards food. So that way you can get a little something for your time today. We greatly appreciate that opportunity to hear from each of you. And then as a follow-up, we will, as I shared, we will be sharing this with our leadership, but ideally also sharing out with the community. So if there's anything you want to learn more about with the information that we collected, feel free, you have our contact information. So we'd be happy to continue to share back with you as well. Paula, anything else to share with the group before we part ways?
No, I think you kind of covered it. And again, just say thank you so much. And all of your insight is going to be very useful for us in trying to put together this common student journey map.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great night.
And
Thank you. Thank you.